Well, this is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm probably making a mess of the videos, but I meant to put all this on a short one video, and it's turned into this is the third one. I'm going to end it, and I hope if that it's put together because this is a part of it. During that period of time when my ex-husband was allowed to commandeer my apartment furniture and my deposit used, I had no place to really call my own then, no key. But I was back there, and this is before April the 1st and the antifreeze was put in 1980. I called the FBI because I had gotten a letter dated June the 23rd of 79, and it was signed by William Harper, U.S. Attorney in Atlanta. James Baker actually signed underneath for William Harper. He was assistant U.S. Attorney. So I had been in the FBI office on and off all this time, and when I'm back, and before the antifreeze was put in me, and I was having so much trouble, and here I'm back there, and I have no apartment. Now, my ex-husband has, it's in his name, illegal. Everything that was done was illegal. I called the FBI. There were even gunshots, which is illegal. There's four of them, but then you get into what the number four means to me and the patterns later on that were used in the murders and all this, the mind control murders. So it was like a threat to me because things like sugar was being put in Mark, my son's car, in the lifters, all kinds of stuff. His car was going out on Atlanta Interstate, perimeter there, 11:30 at night when he got off from work, out in, where it's dark, and he's walking to try to get to safety and call us. So, in my son Scott, it is so horrific what they were doing to us and terrorizing me. And so that night when it was, I don't know, it went off more than once, the gunshots. And I remember the dogwoods in Atlanta had started blooming. And we're probably in full bloom back there. I'm in Roanoke, Virginia now. But anyway, well, Roanoke, Virginia, next to Blacksburg, Virginia Tech. And I'm going to go ahead and insert this now. And an FBI agent told me, and I've got all these names and everything. He said they've made it, and he meant the FBI, so ludicrous. Everybody knows you're telling the truth. It gives them a chance to help you or walk away. And then, earlier in '82, when all this antifreeze and everything, and I'm made to be a bag lady on the street, lost my home, all of it, made it through working for the district attorney, and a couple other jobs, computer science, doing Navy manuals. How's that? Then I'm on the street again, and I've had antifreeze put into me. It's so hard to live and try to pretend that nothing's wrong. And I had brain damage, and my apartment's gone, my sons, all I knew is they could be killed. And so in '82, I'm back in the FBI office trying to see why all this has happened to me when I had gotten a letter from them June the 23rd of '79. And one of the FBI agents told me, and he faked yawning, he said, you know what people do with what you're telling them? And he yawned. He said, you bore them. They don't care until they find out how it affects them. And he was talking of the mind control, and he was very absolutely right on. He was right. So during this time back in '79 when I'm corresponding with the FBI, and I think it's because of the book, and a wiretap. I didn't know about my kidnapping, not any of that. So off and on, I'm back and forth. I was down at the office a few times and then on the phone. But at this specific time when my ex-husband, I'm back from hoping to relocate to Dallas, I was gone a few days and turned around by my ex-husband's sister who had offered me a place to help me find a job in Abilene. suddenly in Dallas, I'm calling, tell her I'm this far, I'm coming on in, and I'm turned around. I no longer am welcome. I'm back in Marietta. My ex-husband's been allowed to use my security deposit, my lease. It was taken out of my name illegally and put in his name. I mean, but anyway, I'm back and I'm having to live there. This is mid-March that this has happened. And the 4 gunshots, and I don't know if anybody's going to connect it or not right at the moment. I told about coming here to Virginia, and I live next door to Virginia Tech. And the mass shootings that happened there in April the 16th of '07, and by the way, Elizabeth comes being wooed and paid through here where I'm living, freezing, had been freezing on the Appalachian Trail and starving. My job shut down and nobody would help me. Nobody cared. They just wanted me gone. Anyway, the shootings happened. And I'm going to mention without going any further in this, God knows they can come lock me up. One of the guys, I mean, there's a lot more to this in the patterns, the shootings there that day, but I'm going to mention the one, and I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Ryan. He's from Georgia, North Georgia, either Athens or near Atlanta, but his nickname was Stack. Now then, somebody will laugh at this, and I refer you back to the FBI agent that said they've made it so ludicrous. People know you're telling the truth, but. So I'm going to go back to the apartment where my husband had moved while I was gone that few days, and it's in his name now with my furniture and deposit and all. I have no home. I called when the gunshots went off. There were 4 of them, and I believe they were out in the dogwoods because they were out back. And I remember thinking, well, I was being terrorized, me and my sons. And I called the FBI office again, and it was night. I remember that. And they said they were patching me through, and that the agent that was on duty, or not the one in charge, but the agent on duty, and by the way, I did know him, was out camping. So they were transferring me, and I remember in my conversations they kept saying they would put me on hold, but they would say, we're stacking them. We're stacking them. So that night, I'm patched through, and then my ex-husband gets on and talks to him. But anyway, they were saying they were stacking them. In other words, you would refer to it as stacking the phone calls. Really what happened, they were referring to, they're stacking the laws that have been committed against me, the atrocities, one on top of the other, throughout my life and years, and nothing has been done about it. And I can't, I'm going to leave it at that, because it's the people in this country, and part of my family, the Windsors, they have done this to me. The FBI may, as bad and hellacious as my life has been, they may have been responsible for me still being alive. And most of all, the British have been responsible for me being alive. The British citizens. And it was a couple of weeks later that I ended up with antifreeze in me, and this is an ongoing. Yeah, I can see where it was an ongoing investigation, national security involved. I don't know if my kids are alive or dead. And people that are listening to this, what will they say? Oh, we don't believe in mind control. We don't believe agencies do this. All you have to do is Google it now. Not like in '77 when the only person that would touch it really was Larry Flint, and I have to wonder about all that. I mean, not anything bad about Flint, because he at least tried, okay, to help. And he got sent to Butner. I think that was before meeting me, though. But everybody's afraid of it. They're living good, and to hell with me is really it. So now you won't relate that.